Disclaimer. This video's information is being provided for informational, educational, and general interest purposes only. The information in this video is not intended to shock, enrage, or otherwise provoke the viewer. The sole purpose of this video was to raise awareness of true crime-related events. Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
I want to take a closer look at what we know about this property because, like I said, searches have happened here before. So here is exactly what we know about this property. The 245-acre farm is located on Pascal Ballard Lane. That's right near the intersection of Loretta Road and Bardstown Road. It's about 9 miles south of downtown Bardstown. Rosemary Houck, Brooke Houck's mom, actually owns the property. Again, it's the last place Crystal Rogers is known to be alive. That's according to police. And it is not the first time investigators have searched here. Our records reveal the family farm has been searched at least 3 other times in the last 7 years.
Within days of Crystal Rogers' family reporting her missing, police were at the boyfriend's family farm, closing down Pascal Ballard Lane with police cruisers. This video from July 10th, 2015 is the first time we know investigators were on the property. Family told us they watched law enforcement spend about 4 hours on the farm.
They would have something. I mean, you gotta have a probable cause, so hopefully they found something and they're looking for more.
After this search, Tommy Ballard, Crystal's father, asked the Houck family for access to the farm. He said he wanted to search the farm with cadaver dogs, but he said the Houcks told him no. Fast forward 14 months, investigators were back on the Houck property, this time with a search warrant and lots of extra hands.
Well, this property is the last property that she was seen at, as far as we've been told.
In total, 18 cadaver dogs, the LMPD dive team, and more than 24 investigators took part in this search. It lasted 2 days. Detectives told our crew they found items of interest, and they towed those items away.
I'm hopeful. I think we're moving in the right direction.
Former lead detective on the case, John Snow, told us he believed a crime happened on the property. That was a belief shared by Crystal's family.
I mean, I felt that the whole time. Whether they find something on the farm or they don't, I still feel like that's where it happened.
FBI was on scene for this search more than 6 years ago, helping local investigators comb through hundreds of acres of farmland. It was 4 years before the federal agency took the lead on the case. And that would be the next time we saw law enforcement on the farm. Video from Sky 11 showing us the work underway, August of 2020. On this day, more than 150 state and federal agents served more than 9 federal search warrants on multiple properties, including the farm.
We want to get it right. We want to ensure that that our part in this investigation, that we are doing everything we can to solve the case.
And 2 years later, renewed focus on the farm, seemingly the next step to find answers and take this case to court.
911, what's your emergency?
Nick, this is Detective John Wallen.
Hello. All right. Hey, you guys. Fine. How are you?
Let's see if we can find some. You want that chair or this chair?
Stationary won't be fine. Doesn't matter to me.
Get up here where we can use this desk.
All right. I don't know what you all talked about on the way over here, or
No, we just basically talked about that he was wanting to come over and talk to us, but
talking about his car, really. Okay.
yeah, he liked the Caprice.
Did he?
It's actually John's car.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little dirty. I need to get it cleaned, but it's been raining so much that it's hard to do anything with it. So just want to make sure you understand you're not under arrest. Okay. I'm going to make sure that's.
Oh, I know that. I know that.
Okay, and it's my understanding that you testified at the grand jury this morning, is that correct? Okay, and Mr. Grohagan had made mention of that you'd be willing to come in and, you know, under oath, whatever that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay, so you're still fine doing that? Okay. I guess let's just kind of start from the beginning. You don't know us, or I don't know you, you don't know me, so let me get your full name.
Nick Houck.
Sorry, yes.
TNT. Is it? Yeah, AT&T.
Okay. Any other cell
Or
phones?
Bluegrass. It's one or the other.
AT&T or Bluegrass?
I just changed it about maybe a month ago.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
12/18/1979.
All right. You reside there at 99 Olympia Drive with anybody else?
My girlfriend,
What's her name?
Amber Bowman.
Do you know her date of birth right off?
She's born in '84. It's April the 11th.
Okay. All right. How long y'all live there?
We've only been there for 2 or 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I don't know if it matters, we just moved from 104 Glenview Drive in Bardstown.
104 Glenwood, you said?
Glenview.
Glenview. Okay. I guess let's just kind of start from the beginning. You know what you're here to talk to us about, right?
Sure.
Okay. What is that?
Yeah. Crystal Rogers.
Okay. How do you know Crystal Rogers?
She's my brother's girlfriend.
Okay. And how long have you known her? Or how long have they been? I'm assuming. Did you know her before they started dating?
No, I didn't.
So how long have they been dating?
I'm 2 or 3 years maybe.
So 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
They have a child together. That right?
Yes.
Okay. What's his name?
Eli.
How old's Eli?
About 2.5.
Okay, and do they reside together, or they?
Yeah, they reside together.
Okay. What's their address?
113 or 116 Glenview.
So y'all lived pretty close when you were at the old house?
Mm-hmm.
And your brother's name is Brooks, is that right?
Yeah, Brooks Houck.
How much interaction did you have with Crystal over the years?
Almost none.
Okay. I mean, did y'all? How often would you see your brother and her, or just her? Or?
I mean, I passed her on the street, and that's about it, you know. I mean, my brother's got a bunch of rental properties and stuff, and I mean, I just don't see him. I see him on the road, and that's about it, you know.
Okay.
He's so busy, we don't hang out much anymore.
Okay. And did y'all go to family functions together around Christmas and Thanksgiving, or?
If we've got time, we do, you know. I mean, I've got about a dozen rental properties and work full-time with the PD, and obviously got a family, and,
Sure.
you know, I mean, we're just busy guys.
Sure, I understand that completely. I think we can sympathize with that.
Definitely.
So, in the 2 to 3 years they've been dating, how many times have you been around Crystal?
I've been down there to this house, I don't know, maybe half a dozen times or so.
Okay. Could be more, could be less. I mean, we're not trying to put you into a specific number.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Sure.
What did you know about them? Their relationship. What did you know about their relationship?
I mean, they didn't really argue or anything in front of me, if that's what you're getting at. They usually seem pretty happy to me. So.
I mean, we all have, you know, I've got a brother, and if something's going on, he'll call him bitch. You know, he's gonna call, and you won't believe what this crazy woman did, or you won't believe this, or you won't believe that. I mean, did he ever give you anything like that?
No, well, he didn't complain to me.
Okay. So how often would you see your brother? I know you said you pass him on the street, and that's about it. But how many times a year would you see your brother?
You know, if I need a tool or something like that to borrow from him, I may see him, but I mean, I couldn't really put a number on it,
Okay.
you know, I mean, I've been, you know, I've had the rental properties now for 4 or 5 years. I've got most of the tools I need, but every once in a while, he does have something, you know, that I need or vice versa.
So do you have a separate company established for your rental company? Okay.
Yes.
I know he's got a rental company property, is that correct? So are two completely separate entities?
You don't do business with families.
Trust me, I understand that too. What's the name of your business?
It was Houck Properties, but it no longer exists. I dissolved it
Okay.
in 2014.
So it's just kind of doing it on your own?
Yeah, I just decided I didn't need the LLC. I mean, just extra money for nothing the way I saw it. I mean, I'm not expecting to get sued or anything, so.
Sure. And your brother, what's the name of his business?
Houck Rentals.
Okay. How many rental properties do you think he's got?
I'm going to guess between 80 and 100. And he builds full-time also.
So is he a framer or is he
He's in everything.
everything? So he's your all-purpose man then?
He is.
What does he do something more than does he do one thing more than another? Like, does he frame more than anything else? Does he roof more than anything
I
else?
mean, he's just into all of it. I mean, he jumps right there and helps whoever's out there. I mean, obviously he has, you know, certain guys come in to do like the plumbing and electric stuff like
Sure.
that are licensed,
Sure.
but I mean, he's in there getting his hands dirty.
Okay. So is he building for himself for the rental company, or is he building?
No, he usually sells the houses that he builds.
Okay, so he's a what do they call that?
Slumlord?
No, not slumlord, but there's you build a spec house.
Yeah.
Spec.
No, he's building houses $150,000 and up now.
Okay.
Custom homes.
So you seen it may be one, you know, just a handful of times a year. It could be more than that. It just depends on what your situation is. Okay. And did you in the times that you did see Crystal? I mean, did you ever have any conversation with her? Or?
No, I mean, I didn't. I never had any issues with Crystal, but I wasn't around her that much. I mean, she seemed like a pretty easygoing person to me.
Okay. Do you know any of her family?
No, I don't.
What about your nephew? Do you spend time with him, or?
I wish I could say yes. I mean, no, I don't really see him much.
Okay. Well, now didn't your brother run for sheriff? I guess last election. How did he have time to run a campaign?
I don't have any idea what he was thinking or any. I guess he thought he was really good at building. He had a lot of success there, and he thought he'd transition into the law enforcement.
Okay.
But I told him don't do it.
Yeah.
So.
I mean,
How'd that turn out?
Not good.
Yeah. Well, politics is, you know, policing's one thing, politics is another.
Exactly.
So, I mean, why did he decide to run for sheriff? Did he ever say?
He never said. I guess he thought he could. I don't know if he planned on continue building and then also be sheriff. I don't know what he was thinking. But
Okay.
I tried to talk some sense into him, and I guess it went in one ear and out the other one. So.
Gotcha.
If you would have won sheriff, you think he'd made you as chief deputy?
I wouldn't work for him.
You wouldn't have worked for him?
I mean, I'm happy with the PD. No reason to leave.
How long have you been to PD?
I was with Lebanon for about a year and a half. I think I've been here for about 8.5, 9, something like that.
Okay. What year did you come on in Lebanon?
2005.
Okay. Write that down. And you said you was at Lebanon for a year and a half?
Mm-hmm.
What made you come here to Bardstown?
This is just where I was from. More money, better benefits. I mean, I started out at $7.80 an hour, and then it went to $15 an hour, whatever it was, when I started here. So
Yeah, it's that's double,
yeah,
about double your salary.
Mm-hmm.
And any trouble since you've been to PD with anybody? Everybody get along pretty good?
For the most part. I I mean, obviously a bunch of officers with type A personalities. I mean,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna have a few conflicts, but
Sure. You never had any conflict with anybody specifically or anything like that? What shift are you working right now?
first shift.
How long have you been on that shift?
Just changed it not too long. We went to 12-hour shifts. It's probably been in the neighborhood of 4 to 6 months maybe.
What were you on before that?
I was working 4 to 2 o'clock in the morning.
Who were the guys that you worked with on that shift?
Who were the guys on that shift? It was me. Jason Ellis was on that shift. Let's see, Andrew was on third. Nathan Phillips, I believe, was on second. Michael Medley. I can't remember who else was on the shift. It seems like it runs together now. I've worked with all of them at some point or another, you know. But there was 5 or 6 of us on that shift, so.
When's the last time that you had seen Crystal?
I'm sure it was sometime when I seen her just driving around out on the road, but I don't really remember where I was at or so.
So you knew her. You knew her enough to know her car, to know where her car was.
Yeah, oh yeah.
What kind of car did she drive?
A maroon Impala.
Okay. Maroon Impala.
She lived with your brother at the Glenview address.
She did.
And would she way back when she saw you?
Oh yeah, she saw me. She, you know,
I mean,
she probably wouldn't recognize me in the truck, but if I was out in the cruiser, usually she'd see me.
Yeah. So how often would you see her out on the road? I mean, was it obviously more often than you saw her in person, but
Probably maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
okay.
So the last time you remember seeing her, she was in a car driving around.
That's what I'm assuming. I'm not 100%, but I'm almost for certain.
Okay. The last time that you actually were physically in the same room with her, when was that?
It's been a long time ago. I don't really remember.
I mean, we're talking Christmas, Thanksgiving, before that, after that?
Could have been Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Okay. I mean, what did she talk about anything specific, anybody in specific?
I don't remember that. I can't even remember what I did 2 days ago. You know, I really.
Okay. So you said your brother and her seemed happy?
For the most part, they did.
Okay. I mean, you know, for the most part, you said, what about
Well, there's one example I can think of. You know, I think there's been times when Brooks said that, you know, I think sometimes she complained that, you know, maybe he treated his son better than her kids or something like that, but that's about the only thing that really stands out.
But nothing that, like, was seriously straining the relationship? Just
No.
Okay, so you said the last time you saw her was within the last
Probably within the last couple weeks, maybe.
couple of weeks. Did she have a job?
I think at one time she worked up at the fast food mart on Bloomfield Road, but that's been some time ago.
Okay. Since then, I mean, do you know where she's working at, or does she have a job?
I'm not even sure.
Okay. Did she help Brooks out on with the rental properties, or?
See, I don't know anything about that.
And when you would get together, as you know, just you and her and Brooks, or a bigger part of the family, where would you all get together at?
Yeah, I don't know that we ever really got together. I mean, you know, obviously she's been over at Mom's house, you know, and I've seen her out there, but I mean that's been a while back.
Okay.
So we really didn't get together.
Okay. Now,
Is your mom's house down, is it by y'all's family farm?
Mm-hmm. Pasco Ballard Road.
Okay.
I think we went out there, or I went out there the other day. There's like a black barn kind of a thing.
It's called the Skid House.
Skid House, okay. Was there a sawmill in there one time? I saw the saw cedar.
My grandfather, he did.
Okay.
He ran a sawmill.
I saw the salt center. I said, there's got to be a portable mill here somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
My grandfather, he died when I was like maybe 6 or 7. So I mean, it's been
a long time.
Yeah, that's been a long time.
yeah, that had nothing to do with the case. That's just my own person, because I love cedar.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't remember the last time that you had seen Crystal. How about when did you find out Crystal was missing? When do you remember finding out?
Yeah, within a couple of days.
Okay.
How did you find out?
I don't know if I saw it on TV or. Yeah, I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if Brooks had mentioned it or I saw it on TV. It was all over Facebook and everything. You know, it's everywhere. It's on national news.
I mean, this is for all intents and purposes your sister-in-law,
Mm-hmm.
and she's missing. I mean, do you and your brother just not talk to that extent that he?
That's kind of bad, isn't it?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
But he never called you and told you she was missing, or
no.
nobody else in your family called and told you that she was missing.
Called and asked, had you seen her?
Yeah.
Was it unusual for her to take off like that, or?
I know Brooks has said she's taken off to her, I think her mom's before, but I didn't know anything about that either. So.
I mean, I know when you get in baby mama drama, you try to stay out of it, but I mean, you would think if he was really, concerned, that he would, hey, my brother's a police officer, he knows what to do, let me call him and see what's going on.
Yeah, it's not like that.
Okay. So you don't know how you found out she was missing, whether it was from Facebook or TV or if he mentioned it?
No.
I mean,
I've talked, I had several people that have actually, talked to me about it, so like I said, it's ran together at this point.
sure. I mean, has he talked to you about it a lot, or?
Very little, if any, I mean.
Okay. Like, I mean, what's he said?
I don't know that he said much of anything. I mean, obviously, I'm not really gonna bring it up to him because, I mean, I know him well. I know he's a good guy and that he wouldn't have anything to do with something like this. So, I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and question him about it,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just feel like I know for sure that he had nothing to do with her disappearance or whatever, and I mean, that's just where I'm at.
Sure. But I mean, you kind of see the flip side of that coin too, don't you? That if he's really concerned about her coming home, he might be talking, man, we got to do something to find her. We got to do this. We got to do that.
Yeah.
But he's never mentioned anything like that to you.
No.
What's been the one thing he's mentioned to you the most during this whole thing?
Nothing stands out.
Nothing stands out. So she goes, and I'm kind of working third party here, so forgive me, and you may have a better idea on the timeline. Friday night the 3rd, I think, was the last time that anybody said they saw her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where was that at? Do you know?
I think somebody said it was at Walmart.
Okay. So, obviously she gets reported missing on the 5th, is that right?
Yes, the Saturday. Yeah.
She goes missing on
Sunday,
Friday.
Sunday.
Saturday's the 4th. Sunday's the 5th. Yeah. So that's when she gets reported missing.
Mm-hmm.
And he never called you for any advice on what to do?
No.
Okay. I mean, would that be unusual?
I don't think so.
Okay. When did he ever call you after he reported her missing?
I'm sure at some point he's called. I mean, I don't really remember what he asked about, but.
Okay.
Like, was that before? Do you remember when he was interviewed?
Oh yeah.
And when was that?
A few days after the fact. I mean,
Like a few days after what?
a few days after everything came out and the SO started interviewing.
Okay. Did you make a phone call to him when the SO was interviewing him?
Yes, I did.
Matter of fact, I think it was a couple phone calls, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of got a little spat on the phone, or it seemed like that to
Yeah.
some people. What did you call
Well,
him?
just basically, I mean, Brooks is a really cooperative guy, and obviously at this point you want to be cooperative, but you also want to protect yourself. And I think at a time like this right here, I mean, obviously you wouldn't be thinking exactly straight.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to make sure that he was kind of, protecting himself while that he cooperated with law enforcement, and
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't want him to. I mean, it's just easy to get things confused and stuff, and so.
Well, I mean, you said yourself he's a cooperative guy and you trust him and to know that he's not involved in this, then what reservations would you have about him talking?
Well, for one, the guy that's interviewing him has openly admitted that he lies in court.
Okay.
So, I mean, that kind of bothered me a little bit that John was doing it, but, that's just the way it is, I mean.
But he knows what we can't pick and choose what calls we get.
Most definitely.
So, yeah.
What do you think about your brother? He took a polygraph, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about the results of the
I
polygraph?
don't think they would have passed him no matter what, I mean, I think he went up there and did well, and I think that's just what they said, I mean.
Why would you say that it wouldn't matter?
Yeah, it just seems like it doesn't matter what he does or says, everybody's kind of like pointing the finger at him, and I mean, actually that would be natural, but,
Sure.
I mean, it's just, at this point, it doesn't matter what he does, he looks like the bad one, so that's the reason why I feel like I do.
Well, and that's one of the things we did. We called and checked with our polygraphers because, I mean, I don't know what experience you've had with them.
None, I mean,
We use them all the time.
And I'd put them up against any of them in the country. I mean, they're that good.
Yeah.
And they work for the state police. They don't work for me. They don't work for you guys here. They don't work for the sheriff's department. They don't have any interest in these cases except to run the polygraph. That's all that their interest is.
But just some feedback from them, and it is what it is. It was inconclusive. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I've never even heard of one being inconclusive like that.
It's either pass or fail.
But again, I don't know nothing about them, so
Sure.
really that doesn't surprise me.
Sure. Well, me and him both can tell you we've learned a lot more about the polygraph in the last 4 or 5 years than we ever thought we would.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked to him on that date, but he was having an interview, or you called him.
I think I called him once, and I think the task force guys had his phone, and then at some point I guess they gave him the phone back, and then I got a hold of him. But he'd been up here several hours. It wasn't like I just interrupted right from the very beginning. I thought, what the hell are they doing? I mean, I'm asking the same questions over and over. What these guys doing to him?
How did you know he had been up here for several hours?
I guess I think he called me.
Okay, so he called you before and said, "Hey, I'm going to the PD. I'm getting ready to get
Yeah, I
interviewed."
think,
And what did you tell him at that point?
I said, go over and be cooperative, say what you mean and mean what you say, and just, do the best you can.
And what did you say to him after when you said he'd been here for a couple hours? What was?
I just asked him. I said, what the hell's going on up there? Are they asking the same questions over and over, trying to trip you up, or what's the deal? And he said he was given a detailed statement or whatever. I said, well, that's fine. Just at a time like this, things are spinning. Just you got to protect yourself while you cooperate. Just kind of.
Did you ever tell him to leave the interview?
No, I didn't tell him to leave the interview.
Right. Did you ever tell him to seek legal counsel before talking to the police again?
No.
Okay. So you didn't tell him you need to get out of there, or you don't trust these folks up here?
No, I said go ahead and finish your narrative, whatever it is, your written statement that you're giving them. But just just watch what you're doing. Be sure you're thinking clearly and cooperate and go along with it.
I mean, I guess the conundrum I'm kind of having in my own head, because like I said, we're coming at this from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a vested interest in it really one way or the other, because it's not our baby. But if he's to the point that you're worried about him thinking straight, don't you think he would be talking about it more to you or to your family members about, well, I wonder where she's at. I wonder what happened.
Yeah, I think people deal with problems different ways. I mean, I can't psychoanalyze it.
Sure.
But just different people handle things different.
Okay. And is this typically how he handles a stressful situation? I mean, you've been brothers for 30-some years now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I really haven't ran across another situation like this, I
Well,
mean,
yeah,
I don't
I
know
know.
anything compared to.
Well, I mean, say for example, he's got 3 rental properties that need this, and this done, and he's got 2 houses he's got to get put up, or something's got to get done that week. How does he handle that stress? I mean, does he just go forward? Does it crumple up like a piece of paper?
Well, I mean, he's got 100,000. What do you think? He goes forward.
Yeah. Okay. And Katie barred the doors. We're getting this done. Is it pretty much how he? I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. Is that?
Yeah, I think he tries to do the best he can. If he can, he just goes on. I mean, obviously his stress level is going to be up, with all the rental properties and everything. But I mean, he's been pretty successful. So.
Sure. Sure.
But I'm not right there walking along with him, so I can't really testify
Okay.
as to what he's actually doing from day to day.
Okay. So y'all have said you've been out to the farm and do y'all go out there together to work, or do you?
Hardly ever. I mean, he does his thing and I do mine.
Okay.
There's a big lake out there we fish at. We got 4-wheelers. You know, it's just a place to go to and relax. And
How many acres is it?
250 to 300 maybe.
Been in the family for a long time, or?
Yeah. Yeah, my grandfather, I don't know what year he bought it, but I mean, it would have had to have been probably 50s or 60s, something like that.
Wow. It's been in the family for a long time then.
Mm-hmm.
So when, I know you said you got the skid house, is that what you called it?
That's what they put them in. He built skids for a living, so
Okay.
that's what they stored them in.
Gotcha.
We just kind of adopted the name and.
Okay. I mean, do each of you have your own area out there, or is it all his? Is it all?
I mean, we all use it, but I mean, it's his place, you know.
Okay.
His and mom's.
But I mean, do you have like is it just communal tools and tractors and things like that, or do you have like these are Nick's tools, these are Roach's tools?
No, I mean,
these are-
no.
Okay. I didn't know how, some people have like their own individual sections of
Yeah.
things.
How come he owns it with your mom?
I don't know that he owns it with mom. I don't.
You
I don't
say
know
he
if it's in
said
mom. I don't
his
know
and
if it's.
mom's.
I thought it was in mom's name, but he's the one that bought. I don't even get into that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's in mom's name though.
So I mean, it's yours just as much as his, right?
But no, I mean, I think he paid for it. So I mean, really, it's in mom's name. He paid for it. It's kind of a messed up deal. But no,
So
I mean,
if it's been the family since the 50s, how would he have paid for it? Did he buy
he bought it.
extra?
There's 12 or 13 brothers and sisters,
Oh, okay.
and they sold the farm, and he bought it.
Okay.
Okay, so he
Now
brought out
it
the
makes
rest of the family.
Yeah,
Okay.
he bought it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay, so when Grandpa passed, I guess, is that when that all happened, or was it before
Oh
that?
no, Grandpa passed when I was like 5 or 6.
Okay.
Then my grandmother just died, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Okay. So when she passed, then that's when
Yes.
he bought out the other brothers and
Mhm.
sisters.
So when was the last time, I guess, you and him were out there together?
We've been out there within the last couple weeks, I mean, we run into each other out there, I mean, he takes stuff out there, he's got a pile of stuff out there that, from his building sites, he'll pile it up out there instead of taking it to the landfill, and I guess where he's too tight to pay the landfill bill, but we run into each other, but we're both so busy, we just kind of pass,
Okay. Well, you said within the last couple of weeks, would it have been before or after Crystal went missing?
I've seen him out there after.
After?
Yeah.
Okay, do you specifically remember what day?
I don't.
Okay.
There's a camera out there, I mean, it can be checked.
Okay. Do you drive your cruiser out there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's not uncommon for you to drive it out there?
No, I use the cruiser all the time. Chief wants us to, he wants us to use them off duty. That way it just kind of provides deterrence, and Chief loves that.
Yep. You be seen, there's police everywhere, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a kind of the same mentality we have from our commissioner, so. I mean, when you drive the cruiser out there, what are you going out there to do? Just hang out, or?
Just ride the 4-wheelers, hike.
Okay. So you're not going out there to hook a trailer or anything, but back your cruiser and tow it back into town? Okay. All right, so you said within the last couple of weeks, and it was, so we can specifically say in the last week. Today's the 15th, and she was last seen on the 3rd, so between the 3rd and the 15th.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You've been out there with him. I mean, did you go out there together? Did you meet him out there?
No, I didn't. He was just happened to be out there.
Okay. I mean, did you talk to your mom? Were you at her house? Did y'all go out fishing? Did y'all go out check on cattle? What'd you do?
4-wheeler riding and cattle. I mean, I saw Mom. I don't really remember what we talked about, but we just more or less passed off. So I mean, I don't always stop at the house.
Okay.
When you talked about, you said there's cameras out there. What are you talking about?
Well, they said there's one right there at Patty and Lawrence's house. I mean, right as soon as you start up past Ballard Lane, the first house on the right,
Yes.
there's a camera on that house.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant on the farm.
No.
There's cameras.
Okay. I guess, it's no secret that your cruiser was The chief asked you to bring it in.
Yeah. He didn't ask me to bring it in, it came to my house.
Okay. What do you normally keep in your trunk? What's a normal duty setup? Like, I know ours looks like, evident store exploded in our trunk.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've got a cardboard box back there, and I mean, it's got, say there's flashlight, so we're obviously rechargeable flashlights in the car, there's many forms, there's a PBT, fire extinguisher, there's a department issued shotgun in the car, there's a bag up front with all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in those cars.
Do you generally keep all that stuff in your trunk all the time?
Some of it's in the trunk, some of it's up front in the seat. All the forms I use every day would be up front. I've got something that attaches to the passenger seat, and it's got all the forms, the accident report forms, and all that stuff I use every day.
You take that car home with you. It's a take-home car.
Yeah,
nobody else uses it unless something was to come up.
The only other person that's used that car is Tom Blair. It was issued to him first, and then it was passed down to me.
Okay.
But that's been a while back.
Yeah. How long has that been, you think?
That's been a couple of years.
Okay. So you've been the only one that's driven it in the last couple of years?
Oh, yeah.
Do y'all have stop sticks or anything, stingers?
I don't. I mean, there's some units do.
Okay.
So what you keep in the trunk is a cardboard box with some extra stuff in it, fire extinguisher,
Hats, just rain jackets.
rain jackets.
I mean, I could sit here and try to tell you every item. I probably didn't come up with half of them.
When they took your car, when the PD took your car from your house, what was in the trunk then?
Well, it's this morning grand jury came up with just all the stuff I just told you, but there was also one other thing I can remember that was there was just a regular blanket for moving. Where I moved from 104 Glenview Drive to where I'm at now, I took the blanket that was there and I just put it between furniture to keep it from marring up the finish on it. So it went down the road, I guess it was going to jingle around and
In the trunk of your cruiser? Mm-hmm. You had furniture in the trunk?
No, I didn't. No, what I did, I got the blanket at the farm. I used it, and then I was going to take it back in a few days. I forgot about it, so it's sitting there in the trunk, But no, I used my trailer and truck.
Okay. So instead of putting it in the truck, you put it in the trunk of the cruiser, though?
Yeah, I was going to return it back out there, so I just put it in the trunk, and then when I was out there, I was just going to return it where I found it.
Did you just not never get around to it?
I didn't.
Where you said you got it from the farm? Where specifically did you get it from?
The skid house. There's several of them down there.
Where at specifically in the skid house?
When you walk in the front door, right there to the right hand side.
Okay.
Do the other blankets look just like that blanket?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, it'd be easy to say, look, there's still 2 blankets here, and that's the same blanket.
Yeah.
That's what was there.
I think so.
Now,
were all those things in your trunk when they took the car, other than the blanket? So nothing was missing out of your trunk as far as your fire extinguisher. It was in there.
Everything was in there with the blanket.
Okay, so everything was in your trunk, just like you carry it when you go to work, except the blanket was in there with it.
Yeah.
So do you remember going out to the farm even the July the 8th?
I don't, but I very easily could have been out there.
That was incidentally the same night that your brother was. I think the same night your brother was interviewed by police.
Yeah, Wednesday, July 8th. You said there was cameras out there on that house. The cameras would have caught your car following Brooks
Wouldn't
on the way out to the.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But you said generally, you would just go out to the farm and you would just meet him there. On this occasion, you all both went
Well,
together.
usually I don't meet him there. I mean, he's just out there doing his own thing, and then I go out there and do my own thing.
Well, if that's what happened that night, it would have been just perfect timing that you were following right behind him, that you just so happened to meet him at the farm.
I see what you're saying.
Okay. So think back. Was there a time that you all both went out there at the same time for a specific reason?
Not that I recall.
So it just would have been coincidence that your car was following right behind his truck when it passed by that camera going to the farm?
Yeah, that's happened before.
So this night in particular, it would have been, you would have left after dark. Y'all came together and you would have left after dark. Do you remember that night?
Easily could have.
Okay. Do you remember it?
No, really I don't.
Okay. Do you remember, were you all in the skid house? Were you at your mom's talking?
No, I mean, I can't even remember what he was doing. I mean, it was the 8th, it's the 15th, I don't.
I mean, do you remember being out there with him at the farm that evening?
I think I remember seeing him out there.
Okay, so you didn't.
But
You're saying you didn't intentionally follow him out there, and did you all leave? Do you remember leaving together?
Mm-mm.
Why did he leave earlier or you leave earlier? Do you remember?
I don't have any idea.
Did you leave first or did he leave first?
I don't know.
But you remember, I mean, it's just been a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
Driving down Pascal Ballard, your car behind his truck. I mean, you got turned into the farm there. You remember? Can you go back and put that in your head? Just driving down that road and you see your brother in front of you. What happened after that?
I can't.
Let's go back. You remember talking to your brother on the phone when he was up here, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do after you got off the phone with him?
I really don't know.
Okay.
Do you smoke?
No.
Chew tobacco?
No.
Drink?
Nope. No.
Drink coffee?
Nope.
You don't have any fun, do you?
What's that? Not much.
Working all the time, like, I understand that completely. So it would be possible that y'all were out at the farm together that night. You just don't remember specifically.
You saying the 8th?
Yeah.
Could have been.
Okay.
Did you work on the 8th? Last Wednesday. Do you work on Wednesdays?
What day did you take the car? Because I haven't been
It
to
went
work
on
since.
Thursday. Thursday the 9th.
I don't think I could. If I was at the farm on Wednesday, then I couldn't have worked.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so.
So what days are you generally off?
Let's see. So like one week I'll be off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come back Monday. Work Tuesday, off Wednesday.
Okay.
Work Thursday, Friday. It's hard to keep up with.
Sure.
I mean, it's a mess.
Well,
How do you keep up with it?
I've got to schedule it at home.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got to leave my schedule still today, even 5-6 months later.
Now, what's your normal shift time end?
7 o'clock.
So say if y'all went out to the farm 8:30.
Well, then I could have. Swung that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's safe to say that if you were driving your cruiser out to the farm, you weren't working.
Oh, most definitely.
Because you don't leave the city to go out to the farm while you're working, right?
I wouldn't do that.
Okay, so you wouldn't do that, so you would have been off. That was, remember back, that was the same day that he was up here being interviewed. Okay, it would have been Wednesday. If he was up here interviewed, you had phone conversations with him before he came up here. He told you he was coming up here, and then after a couple hours you called, checked on him, told him to protect himself, whatever it was, the conversation that you had. And then after that phone call, within 2 hours, both of y'all were driving to the farm on the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we know all that. There's no debate about that. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
What we need to know is why y'all both went down to the farm. Because I know it's going to be hard for you to remember a week ago, but I can remember a week ago if I'm thinking about a conversation I had with my brother and something like this going on. Because this doesn't go on all the time. So I mean, we're going to call it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it you don't want to remember, or can you remember?
I can't remember.
Okay. Because this is what's happened. You made a phone call. He was up here. Within 2 hours of him leaving here, both of y'all were on the road, on the way to the farm, and the camera shows that. Time and date stamped. Phone call. Time and date stamped. You're out there. What went on while you were out there at the farm?
Yeah, if I knew, I'd tell you. I mean, I wish I could give you a detailed written statement. I don't know.
I guess let's kind of jump back to the cruiser here for a minute. Is there any reason that there be any blood in the trunk of your cruiser?
No reason at all.
So you don't transport any biological evidence on a regular basis? When's the last scene that you had somebody that was bleeding? How long has it been?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure it's maybe a wreck or something like that. That's been a long time ago.
Okay. I mean,
I can tell you, there's no blood in the trunk of my cruiser. I can guarantee you that.
Okay.
Now, what about on anything that was in your trunk? Would there have been blood on anything that was in your trunk?
There's no way. Absolutely none.
Now, what about the blanket that was in your trunk?
No way.
And you picked up that blanket when?
Don't know exactly. It was
Estimate.
2, 3, 4 days after, they filed the missing person report.
Okay. So a couple days after they filed the missing persons report is when you picked up that blanket, used it to haul the stuff, then put it back into your cruiser.
I think so.
So that would have been, how many days you think the blanket was in your cruiser trunk before Thursday when they took your cruiser?
Man, I hate to even put a number on it. I mean, I really don't know.
1, 2, 3, 10. How many things?
I'm not even gonna put a number on it. I can't.
But you know, do you know for a fact it was after they filed the missing persons report that you picked that blanket
I
up?
don't even know that for a fact.
Well, when did you move the furniture?
I've got a dozen rental properties. I've been moving stuff out of, the garage over there for 2 or 3 weeks now. I've got
the garage where?
104 Glenview Drive.
How long have you been out of 104 Glenview? You said
Did just a few days.
Okay. Was there a certain day you had to be out of there by?
Mm-hmm.
What was that date?
July the... I wish I could give you the exact date.
Who gave you the date to get out?
The guy that bought it.
Okay, so there's paperwork that shows he takes possession of it on a certain day.
Mm-hmm.
How many days before that did you move that furniture out? We can reference that.
Maybe what furniture out now? Just all my furniture?
Whatever you use the blanket for.
I would say, I'd say at least a few days before,
So a few is 2 maybe? Is that what you would term?
That's what I would guesstimate.
Okay, so say you had to be out by July 9th, then a few days before that, or something like that?
It sounds good to me. I mean, I really don't know.
What was the guy's name that bought the property?
Mike Ballard.
And Mike Ballard, is there paperwork on that? Did you go through a realtor?
No, I sold it for sale by owner.
Okay. And did you do a contract, or did you do a deed transfer? Or
Yeah, we did a contract on it.
Okay. Do you have a copy of the contract somewhere?
I do somewhere.
So there'll be some way we can reference
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Did you tell anybody that you were on the evening of the 8th you were with your girlfriend all night and you didn't go anywhere?
Did I tell somebody I stayed with my girlfriend all night?
That you were home with your girlfriend all night on the evening of July the 8th and didn't go anywhere?
Last Wednesday night.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Who have you talked to about this so far? I mean, obviously we're talking right now.
Just the people at the grand jury.
That's the only other person you've talked to about this investigation
Mm-hmm.
is the grand jurors and us 3 people in this room.
Yeah. Very little with Chief. I mean,
Have you talked about it with your girlfriend?
very little. I mean, like I said, we didn't really hang out with Crystal or anything, so I mean, I haven't went into any detail with her.
Well, I mean, is she? I know the typical woman is going to ask 10 million questions around something big that you work.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both married. We know how our wives are. What about this? What about this? What about that?
Amber's really not like that.
Not like that.
No.
Okay.
Do you talk to any of the other officers here? I mean, y'all are obviously
No,
all...
I've been off work. He just put me on paid leave or administrative.
I mean, did he tell you not to talk to anybody about the investigation, or is it just, do you not socialize with a whole lot of people from work outside of work, or?
No, I mean, I don't see a lot of them out of work.
I know, with us, the guys that we work with, we're talking on the phone all the time. We're real social with each other. Is that just not the case here?
Yeah, I haven't talked to anybody about it.
Okay.
But just in general, I mean, are you social with the guys you work with, like
Yeah.
Jason Ellis? Did you talk to him a lot when you worked with him?
Well, yeah, I mean, I talk to all the guys, but I mean, it's not like we hang out on the weekends together or anything like
Okay.
that, so.
But when you're here at work, you talk about
Oh,
stuff.
most definitely.
Has any of the officers or anybody come and approach you and asked you questions about the case? Instead of knowing that you're kind of close to the family.
They haven't asked.
And you haven't talked to your brother about this case?
I haven't. There's very little to nothing.
So I mean, how did the conversation go when he said, he called you and said, I'm on my way up here to the PD to be interviewed?
I can't remember how he stated it. He just, I guess, just said they were going to interview him, and that may have been like his second interview.
Did he seem nervous? Was he scared? Was he asking for advice? Was he confiding in you? Like, what was he?
Brooks is the same old Brooks.
I mean, if you don't talk that much generally, and your brother calls you, there's got to be some reason he's calling you.
Yeah, well, I mean, he calls me from time to time. It's not like we just completely ignore one another, but we don't just hang out all the time.
But if he called you, that day, what did he say?
I have no idea.
I mean, you're the only one that was on the phone line with him that time, right? Just you and him?
No.
There wasn't anybody else. It wasn't a three-way call. It was
No.
his phone calling you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't remember anything that was said at all. He didn't say, hey, is there something I should do? Should I wear a nice shirt? Should
Brooks has got common
should I
sense.
fix my hair? That kind of thing.
Brooks, he's just kind of construction worker. I mean, he's come right on in here. I mean, he's not like that.
But I mean, he obviously knows that you know more about police work than what he does.
Well, obviously.
So he's, if you've got a question about how to frame something and it's something he's better at than you, you're going to call him and ask him, right?
Yeah, but Brooks didn't have anything to hide. I mean, he hadn't asked me anything like that. Brooks hadn't changed any.
So he was just saying, hey, if you need to get a hold of me, I'm going to be up here at the PD doing an interview, kind
more
of thing.
or less.
But then you called him back because you were just worried because you hadn't.
Well, I really wasn't
Did he say, I'll call you when I'm done? Is that what he
No,
said?
he didn't say he'd call me when he was done. No, and I mean, it's not that I was really worried. I just, like I said, Brooks is a really cooperative person, and with things spinning like they are, I just wanted to be sure that, things were done the right way.
Sure. I mean, I know you made mention of one officer here that you think might not be, the most trustworthy person in your words.
Mm-hmm.
But is there anything else that goes on around here? I mean, is the whole department like that, or is it just?
No, I mean, we've got a really good department.
Okay.
I can't knock the department at all.
In the sheriff's department as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of good guys over there.
So, I mean, you obviously had some reservations about something because you called him. It was just that one officer, that's the only reason why?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
How did you know that Snow was the one interviewing him, not one of us?
Well, I just assumed that, I guess since he'd been interviewed before, that, I mean, he was the one handling it, so.
I mean, there's other good officers here. What if it was like Kaminsky or somebody else? I mean,
Yeah, I don't think I'd have been that much worried about it.
So you knew that Snow was going to be the one interviewing him because he told you that Snow called him? Is that what you're saying?
I can't even really remember that. He just said he was going to be interviewed, and I guess since Snow had interviewed him before, that I just assumed that he'd be the one doing the interviewing again, so.
All right, hang tight. Let's go check on something real quick when we are back, okay?
Nick, we need to go over a couple of things. Okay.
Let's a couple of things we want to just touch on here. The 10th, which would have been this past Friday.
The day after they came and took your car.
Okay.
About 8:30 p.m. that night, Brooks was, Keith Rogers was over at Brooks' house getting some clothes for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Brooks got a call from you, talked for a second, and he hung up the phone and told your mom, hey, we gotta go, Brooks, or Nick needs our help. Do you remember what that was about?
I have no idea.
Okay.
So you didn't call him on Friday and ask him for any kind of help?
I don't recall.
I mean, is there anything that happened on Friday? You have a, I don't know, water line bust, anything like that you needed help with?
No.
You remember him coming over on Friday, just this past Friday, a couple days ago?
I don't.
And you didn't meet with him on that Friday?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you remember going over to Brooks's house and unloading some stuff out of your trunk into your mom's car?
I don't know that I've unloaded anything from the cruiser.
Now, there's you've got neighbors that have, you know, a spot that they can actually see your cars in the driveway, right?
Mm-hmm.
Over in that area. Now, a neighbor stated that they saw you taking something out of your trunk and placing it in your mom's car.
That didn't happen.
Nothing. I mean, you didn't even take a fire extinguisher out or anything.
Nope.
Okay. Where would the fire extinguisher be if it wasn't in your trunk when they took your car?
Should be in the trunk of the car.
I don't think it is it?
I don't think there's a fire extinguisher back there. Nothing would be in your mom's car out of your police cruiser right now if we went and popped it. Like, you know, if we went and looked, if she let us.
Not a thing.
So, going back to the Friday night, would there be anything on your phone or your phone records that would show a call between you and Brooks at 8:30 p.m. on Friday?
Your guess is as good as mine. You want welcome to check it.
Okay. So, do you have your phone with you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Where's it? Is it home?
It is.
Okay. Would you be willing to let us download it? Put it on the cell drive?
Just copy the contacts and the phone
Yes.
calls on
It'd take an hour or two. I mean, it obviously wouldn't be right this minute. We don't have a cell right here with us. But
No, and you don't have a cell phone with you.
Okay.
What kind of phone do you have?
iPhone.
Is it a 4, 5, 6, 6 plus?
I think it's 4 or 5.
Got a passcode to it.
Mm-hmm.
The charger, is it the wider charger or is it the thinner charger?
About that wide.
That one? Yeah.
So it's like 5, probably, or 4. 5 and 6 use the hot charger, the heavy one.
Yeah.
So probably a 4. But it doesn't have a passcode on it.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the 8th when you called your brother, when he was up here interviewing, what was the tone of that conversation? Was it just kind of like what we're talking here, real calm, collected?
No, I mean, I felt like raising my voice a little bit. I mean, I obviously wanted John to know that I'd called up there, you know. I mean, he's sitting right there beside him. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anything to hide, you know. Like I said, I wanted to be sure things were getting done right. And
sure.
I mean, he'd been up here for hours and hours, and I wanted him to cooperate and everything, but I wanted him to protect himself also.
I mean, if you raised your voice to the point that we could sit there and basically hear word for word on the recording.
On the audio.
On the audio recording. I mean, that's how much you raised your voice. I mean, that's a little bit more than raising your voice. It almost sounded like a shouting match. I mean,
I don't really see it that way, but I mean, I wanted him to listen, you know. I mean.
Okay. So that night after you called your brother and told him to leave, or told him to be careful or take care of himself, et cetera, et cetera. Did you all meet up anywhere?
Not that I recall. I don't think we did.
Well, you talked about the videos out there at your at the house on the corner of Pascal Ballard.
Mm-hmm.
That video does show you and your brother going out there, arriving at the same time, right behind each other.
Mm-hmm.
We got witnesses that said they remember passing both of you out on 49.
Mm-hmm.
One right, he was in front, you were behind.
We didn't make a special trip out there together, if that's what you're getting at.
I mean, that's just
a coincidence that y'all showed up at the same time to go out there.
And then y'all were out there till right at 11:22. You start out and stop down at the end of the drive, back up, and then y'all leave out together.
What's that name you saying? I backed up, or
you started down the drive and stopped, and then backed back up the hill a little bit, and then I guess I don't know if you're waiting for him or what, but y'all left together.
I don't remember that, but
well, I mean,
we know you arrived together and you left together. We know that.
Which kind of leads us to the issue with the cruiser here. Okay. we got some issues.
Okay.
You're aware that when the cruiser was taken from you, that it was actually taken to the Kentucky State Police Forensic Central Laboratory?
That's what I assumed, Chief would have done.
Okay. So while it's at the lab, they have you ever heard of luminol? You ever been in any kind of criminal investigation classes? All right, you know what luminol is used for?
To find blood?
Okay. Or other
Bodily fluids.
fluids. Okay. So we all excrete bodily fluids, sweat, vomit, anything, saliva. All that is what would fluoresce. Why would your trunk look like a Smurf if they sprayed it? Why would it fluoresce?
It looked like Chernobyl. There's a couple spots in your trunk, and that blanket, just lit up like Chernobyl.
Why would that?
There's not going to be any blood in the trunk.
Okay, well, I'm not saying blood. I'm talking about other bodily fluids.
I don't have blood. There shouldn't be any bodily fluids in the trunk.
There's only one way bodily fluids can get into a trunk. That's if a body's nearby, right?
That's what I would assume.
Okay. Or unless, somebody puked in your trunk or something like that.
I don't think that happened.
Don't think that's the case.
Somebody peed in your trunk or...
No.
So why would that be if that blanket, when they looked at it at the lab?
I've got no explanation for that. I don't have, none whatsoever.
Nobody has access to that car but you. You drive it. You put the blanket in there. You said that. If there's something on that blanket or in that car, you're the person that has something to do with it, correct?
Well, I would assume, but
Okay.
there shouldn't be
Now,
any, there shouldn't be anything in the trunk of the car. I don't know if somebody made that up or what the deal is, but
we're not in the business of making stuff up.
Yeah, we don't.
That's not what we do.
I'm just telling you, our job is to find out what happened. It's not to change the course of events as they happened. It's to find out what happened. So we can't change what happened in that trunk. We can't change that the test showed that there's bodily fluids in that trunk area. What we need to do is we need to find out why that's the case.
And you see where we're coming from now. We've got two of you getting there together. You say it's a coincidence. Two of you leaving together. The next day, your cruiser is found with this, the stuff in the trunk, and it's taken to the lab. It's got bodily fluid in it.
I wish I knew what to tell you guys. You guys just got to test that and let me know when you find out. There's no reason anything should be in the trunk of that car.
Did your brother ever call you and say that he'd done something to Crystal?
No, he did not.
Because here's the case. Case is, you're a police officer, we're police officers. Right? We all know how this job works. I don't believe in coincidence after having this job. I don't know if you still do or not.
Not much.
I don't, because that when somebody is sitting here talking to us and telling us that everything's a coincidence and we have either physical evidence or video or something to prove that that's not the fact, we kind of stop believing in coincidence. Now, that's the case of where we're at right here. There's too much linking you and him leaving when he leaves the police department, going down the road, both arriving together, both leaving together. There is some reason why you all went out to that farm. Now, I'm not a big fan of amnesia either, because I've heard that 20 or 30 times a week when I'm talking to people, so I don't believe people just lose their memory. I think people forget what they don't want to talk about. They hide those things. And sometimes it's a good person that does that because they're trying to protect their family or they're trying to protect themselves. But you know what? There's also bad people in this world. And those bad people intentionally lie and intentionally use those excuses, to make it harder for the police to find out what really happened, because they're deep down, they're just a bad person.
Oh, I agree with you 100%.
So I don't think that we're dealing with a type of person here that's a bad person. I think we're dealing with somebody like you that's coming forward and trying to be cooperative. But then again, I think you're somebody that would protect your family in a case like this. And if your family told you something, that you would try to protect them to the best of your ability, especially since you're a police officer. Okay,
she's got kids. There's no way that I would cover this up for him.
Okay, well,
but we also have to take it. We all have family. We know how family bonds run. Family's family. You've got your work family, and you've got your real family. There's things that people have done in the name of family that have been in positions that you would just kind of scratch your head to think, well, why would they do that? But it was all out of love, for the family. You and your brothers, you grew up together, you probably rumbled on the ground together, knocking each other's heads off.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a brother, that's what we did growing up. We took turns beating the fire out of each other.
Yeah.
But at the same point, we're at a point here, like you said, coincidences, we can throw them out the window. You know, not knowing exactly what time you sat down and ate dinner yesterday, that's one thing. Not remembering
That you ate dinner at all.
that you ate dinner at all, that's another.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
You know, we've, and then you add that on top of the biological evidence that's been located in the trench.
Look, we're not
That's
asking
what
you
starts
hard.
me right there. I mean, I just can't believe that.
Well, we're not asking you hard questions here. As far as
Oh,
I'm
I
not
agree.
asking you, did you pull in at 7:22 p.m. on the other night? No. I'm asking you, hey, last week on Wednesday, a week from today, do you remember going out to the farm? Do you remember arriving with your brother? Do you remember leaving with your brother? What did you do while you were out there? Those aren't hard questions.
And
I'm not asking you.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't.
I mean, is it just such a routine that you go out there and just arrive at the same time and?
We both go out there a lot, you know. I mean, it is a place we hang out, you know, quite frequently.
Sure.
And you've told us that, and we believe that.
Mhm.
But we're asking you specific days a week ago, okay?
Yeah, and
Have you been out to the farm since then, or is that the last time you've been out to the farm?
Since the 8th,
Since, yes, a
Well,
week ago last Wednesday.
I'm sure I've been out there since then.
Okay, have you and your brother both met out there since
No.
last? Okay, so we're asking you about the last time that you and your brother met at the farm. All right, we're not asking you for specifics about it. We're just asking if you remember both arriving there, what you did while you were there, and when you left, and why you were out there.
I don't.
I mean,
I really don't.
we're trying to make it as easy as we can for you as far as asking you questions.
Because from our perspective, I mean, we're not talking about just, you know, coincidence, y'all showing up at the same time. I mean, your brother's subject of a police investigation right now that's made national news.
I'm telling you, if my brother was under the microscope right now, I would remember everything that he did, everything that we talked about, everything that we did together.
Sometimes I can't remember what happened 2 days ago, you know. I mean,
And-
I'm being 100% honest with you.
And I understand that, but being a police officer, you know, we kind of have to remember things.
Yeah, if you didn't write it down, if you didn't, remember it, it didn't happen, right?
But I write everything down. If you look at my notes, I mean, it's all written down. I've got it. When I go testify in court, I mean, I've got the report right in front of me, you know.
Sure.
But sometimes I couldn't tell you what I did 2 days ago.
But work is one thing, your family is another.
Mm-hmm.
If something happened that was close to my family, if something happened where that I was affected by it, because you're affected by this, whether or not you think you are,
Oh,
you
I
are.
agree.
I mean,
Mhm.
you're wrapped up in this. Even if there's no indication of anything else, your name is the same as his, right?
I agree with
Okay,
that.
and you do police work, right?
Yes.
And this is a police investigation. So there ain't no way you're gonna be able to stay out of this completely, right?
No.
Okay, so you ought to be thinking in your head, how am I gonna save face with the guys I work with? How am I gonna, explain this to my family? You've gotta have those things going through your head. If you're a normal functioning person like we all are, then it's natural for us to feel that way. It's natural for us to be inquisitive, especially as police officers. We always want to know what's going on. We're like the neighborhood watch 24/7, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's the way we are. Now, I just can't expect that you would forget all those details, being as you're a police officer and sitting here talking to you and seeing how you interact with people. I just find that very hard to believe.
Well, I'm sorry you find it hard to believe, but that's the way it is. I mean, it's just, that's it. I mean,
A month ago, I would expect you not to remember something, but a week ago, with all this national media attention and all these questions probably being asked by people out here on the street and all these rumor mills going around, I would expect you to remember that.
but at the same time, he hadn't really came to me,
I mean, you talked on that day, he called you.
I'm sure we talked briefly, but like I said, we haven't really discussed anything, so therefore I don't have a lot of details to give you.
Well, we're not asking you details about necessarily what he did more than details about what you did, with details about you going to the farm and him being there,
Mhm.
okay, and you all leaving, hence you being there and you leaving.
We would expect, we're just going back to this time, y'all arriving at the farm at 8:11 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's getting to be summertime, but, that doesn't leave you a whole lot of daylight for fishing or tooling around, and it gets dark about 9 o'clock.
9:30.
So, but you're there till 11, almost 11:30.
Yeah, but with all this going on, it's just like I say, it's just a good way to go out there and Get rid of the stress.
Well, what did you do to get rid of stress? I mean, what did he do to get rid of stress that night?
Y'all shoot some clay pigeons or something, or?
No, I mean, like I told you before, I mean, I'll go out there, I ride the four-wheeler religiously. You know, I'll go to the lake, and like the last hour before it gets dark, that's about the best time to go fishing.
Sure.
So, I mean, I understand y'all's perspective, but you got it wrong. I mean, dig all you, I know you're doing your job, and I'm not, you know, I don't hold it against you. Do what you need to do, but.
Is there any reason that her DNA is going to come back in your trunk?
I'm 100% certain it won't.
Okay.
You're dead in the water. No way.
What about on that blanket?
No way.
Any hairs, fibers,
No
anything
way.
like that?
No way.
Never took anything out of your trunk, is what you're saying.
I didn't.
So if we had somebody who had seen you do that, seen you take stuff out of your trunk and put it in your
Still
neighbor's
just
trunk,
making stuff up.
and the coincidence of you all both arriving there at the same time, not having any kind of conversation, can't remember anything that you talked about, anything that you did at the farm, and then leaving at the exact same time.
I'm telling you, it was coincidence. I mean, I know it sounds fishy, but that's
I mean,
the way it is.
but I mean, you can appreciate how.
Oh, I can.
I mean, we're.
I mean, this isn't our first rodeo, and I'm sure this isn't your first time dealing with a criminal investigation, so you kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I would even expect you to hold this to a higher standard and say, man, this is gonna, you know, it just doesn't sound right. You know, it doesn't match up.
It's a weird case.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is a very odd case. You know, and we're like I said, we're sitting here with. It still remains that we understand that you may not remember every single time you've been out to the farm or what you do. You know, we all have habits. Like I said, you ride the four-wheeler religiously, and fishing right before dark's the best time to go.
Yeah.
I understand that completely. But something's just not adding up here. You know, 1 + 1 always equals 2. And you look at the fact that you call him and you raise your voice to him, like you said, to tell him that he needs to be careful.
You know, I'm big brother. I'm gonna kind of, try to protect
Sure.
him. At the same time, I mean, I'm not gonna cover something like this up for him. I'm just not that kind of guy. And furthermore, I mean, there's no way he had anything to do with this. If something has happened to her, it wasn't because of something he did. Again, I know you guys have got a job to do. I mean, do it, but I mean, you're wasting time.
Well, who else would be responsible for this?
I mean, I don't have any names to give you if I did. I
What
mean,
do you think?
What do you think happened?
I mean, she's a nice looking woman. I don't know if she got out there on the Bluegrass Parkway and somebody abducted her. I don't know what happened, but I know Brooks didn't have anything to do with it. I just feel 100% certain. I mean,
But he's never denied it to you.
No. I mean, I've never asked him. I just don't feel like, I feel like I know Brooks well enough that, I know he would never do this. I'm not going to question him about it.
So you've never even asked him you've never said, hey, did you have anything to do with this? Tell me you didn't have anything to do with this.
No, I've never asked him that.
Never said that.
No.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
you say you ride the four-wheeler religiously.
Mhm.
How often do you say you go out there?
I mean, I'm out there 2, 3, 4 times a week. I mean,
How come the cameras don't show you there a couple weeks, the 2-week period before last week?
I'm not saying I go there every week, but I'm just saying on
Religiously means every week, 2 to 3 times.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying on average, I'm probably out there a good 2, 3, 4 times a week.
But you weren't for the 2 weeks before this
That
last week.
that doesn't make sense. I mean,
it
it doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know what he's. It should be on the camera. You go back and look at the camera, do what you need to do. But I mean,
we have. I mean,
you say there was a 3-week period I've never been out there.
2 weeks before.
I don't believe that.
Before this last week.
I don't believe that.
Like since before the 3rd.
That's not accurate.
but you can remember going out there then, but you can't remember.
Well, I'm just saying. I just feel like I'm 99% certain that there wouldn't be a 2 or 3 week gap between going out there. Now, I don't necessarily remember going out there, but there's no way that I went 3 weeks without going to the farm. No way.
So you say you went out to the farm on the 8th. You and your brother didn't have any contact that you remember. You just went and did your own thing, even though you got there at the same time and left at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember anything that he said or anything. We just kind of passed and rode on.
He had anybody with him?
Not that I recall.
Did anybody else see you all both out there, other than the camera at the house pulling in?
I don't think so.
Because you told somebody, I think, at one point that you remember being out there that night and you and Brooks sitting there talking with your mom.
I don't remember that. I mean,
so you're saying that the biological fluids that they found in the car.
are you for certain there's biological fluids?
Yes, I'm absolutely certain that there's biological fluids in there.
They wouldn't cut holes in your trunk liner and take it for further testing if it wasn't biological fluid.
When you get that car back and see that car, it's going to have stuff cut out all over it.
And that blanket lit up like Chernobyl.
That
when
blanket
they
ain't
sprayed it.
coming back. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's no way. That none of her biological fluids or anything's going to be on that blanket or anything. I don't know where the stuff came from, if it is there, but it's not hers.
So you never helped him move a body?
I did not.
Never helped him move any evidence.
Never.
Because, I mean, here's what we think happened. We think that your brother is a good guy, and we think that he's probably a pretty good father to that boy. I mean, he's probably a pretty good boyfriend to Crystal, but we all have times where something just happens. All right, he probably found out that some other police officer or some other person in the town was cracking Crystal. And when
That very easily could have happened.
you know, and that very easily could have happened, you know. Somebody maybe around here, I don't know. But we think that that's what happened, and your brother found out about it and confronted Crystal about it, and when he did, you know, he probably tried to maybe do something to her as far as, you know, making her understand that wasn't going to fly with him.
You know, that didn't happen.
And then after that point, you know, maybe it went just a little bit too far. And when it went just a little bit too far, he couldn't turn back time. And when he couldn't turn back time, who's he going to reach out to? But the one person that he trusts and knows that would help him out, and that would be you. And when he called you or he reached out to you, you know, you heard that your brother was in a tough spot, and you being the good family man that you are, the good person that you are, you thought, well, I know this is wrong, but it's also right to take care of my brother and to keep him from going to prison for the rest of his life.
I can see you looking at things that way, but I mean, there's no way that happened. I've done told you that, you know.
Well, at that point, Nick, you talk to him, and he asked you to do something for him, and you try to help him out with advice all that you can, but it finally comes to a point where advice isn't good enough anymore. He actually needed somebody to help him with something. And at that point, Nick, that's when you had to actually do something that you're ashamed of and that you're not proud of, and you blocked it from your memory because you are ashamed of that. And because you're a good person, you actually have feelings, you block that out in your head. And when you block that out in your head, that's why you're having a problem remembering this stuff. But I know, you know, and Detective Vaughn here knows that something like that happened. And that's exactly what we think happened in this situation. And Nick, this is the time and the place.
This is your one chance.
Now, Nick, if we find out that this stuff comes back in your trunk, or if we find a body, if a hunter finds that body pretty soon, assuming, you know, that they do, it's going to be a different game. It's going to be a different ball game at that point, okay? This right now is the first inning. You know, once we find that out, that's closer to the ninth. We've got less time to make up ground and change what's on the scoreboard, because the scoreboard's going to be the same as it would be in the ninth inning, as it would be in the top or the bottom. It's not going to be what it was in the first. All right, we can change the score right now, but we can't later. So, Nick, this is the only opportunity that we have to sit here and find out if you're the actual honest person that we think that you are.
Well, I'm 100% honest.
And I don't deny that, Nick, but you're not being honest with us about this, okay?
Now, I've been 100% honest. Okay, and it's obvious you've got plenty of experience. I mean, you guys are squared away, but I can tell you, there's no way it happened the way you said it. It sounds logical.
It's very logical, Nick, because it's what happened.
But no, it didn't happen that way. It didn't.
Okay.
How do you know it didn't happen that way?
Nick, you can't remember what happened.
Well, he's saying Brooks did it, and I was in on it. I mean, there's no way.
Were you there? Were you able to see that Brooks didn't do it?
No, but I know him well enough to know that Brooks.
I know lots of people, okay? I know troopers that I've worked with for my entire career, and guess what? They're not troopers anymore. And I thought I could say that.
They made a mistake.
And I thought I could say that, because you know what? We're all people. No matter what this says, no matter what we go to church and say on Sunday, no matter what that we appear like, everybody is a person. And every person can change in a heartbeat.
Well,
Whether they choose to or not. Sometimes things just happen. We make mistakes.
but I haven't made any mistakes, and I have been 100% honest.
Well, Nick, I don't disagree that, you know, you hadn't made any mistakes in your career maybe, but in this, there's been some mistakes made. Otherwise, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to you.
Because when I start thinking with this goes out the window. Logic goes out the window.
Man, all I can tell you is, I mean, Brooks is a good guy. He didn't have anything to do with this. You know, obviously, you know, I'm hoping for the best and expecting the worst because I'm a police officer. I hope she walks in his front door anytime, but at the same time, I mean, she's been gone for a while. She hadn't made contact with the kids.
Well, you know, it's national media attention. We know that she's not just out walking around in the public somewhere because somebody would have called us.
Yeah.
All right, it's been all over the news.
Or she would have seen it and at least
Her-
called here and said, hey, I'm okay.
She wouldn't have any way to get money. She wouldn't have any way to call anybody. Okay, so the assumption of what you're talking about, assuming the worst, I think we can say that's logical to think right now.
If she had a flat tire, she would have used her cell phone
to call somebody. Her cell phone.
It makes sense.
Her cell phone.
It makes sense.
Her cell phone's dead out there. There's nobody calling to ask for help.
Mhm.
You know, she didn't call. Now, Crystal's not the type of person, from what I know of her, and I've done a lot of background, she's not the type of person that's going to get out, get the spare tire out, get the jack out, change the tire, and nothing be out there on the scene. You know, but
Yeah, I don't think she would change the tire either.
Okay.
She called somebody.
She would have called somebody.
Mhm.
Okay, she would have called her boyfriend. She would have called her mom, her mom, dad. She would have called the police, called 911. I don't know, maybe even would have called you. I don't know, but she would have called somebody.
And you know,
I think so.
She didn't do that, and she didn't do that.
You know as well as we do, bluegrass is not very heavily traveled at that time of night. After 10 o'clock, you might see a car every minute or two.
Yeah. Man, I can appreciate the job you guys are doing. I mean, I'm not, you know,
But
I mean,
Nick,
I want
Nick,
you
we're
to
not
be-
just doing a job though, Nick. We're trying to find out for the 4 kids. She got 4
Yeah,
kids,
you
right?
know, four, is it
4 or
four,
5,
five?
maybe
Four,
5.
five.
Okay, she's got 5 kids. We're trying to find out for them because it's not fair for them to not know what happened to their mom.
I'm with you
And
100%.
that's why we're here. We're not here to get anybody in trouble. I mean, that's part of our job. We got to
Okay.
arrest people. We got to put them in jail. But our main job, or what I come to work for, is to solve these crimes, to give people answers. All right, and I'm not going to waste my time on something that's not worth it. So I wouldn't be here talking to you, Nick, if I thought this was a waste of time. And when you said it's a waste of time, you know, I don't think
Well,
you
I think
understand that.
I think the
Okay,
time
this
would
is
be,
not a waste of time.
I think the
Okay.
time would be better spent somewhere else. I mean,
Well,
that's all.
We're at.
I think the time would
I'm
be
not-
better spent right here if we just all started telling the truth. You know,
Well,
if
I
we
know
all started
I
talking.
know I'm telling the truth.
Well,
Are you
Nick-
telling the truth?
Nick, I'm telling the truth.
Okay.
But what I need you to do is I need you to remember those things that you say that you can't remember. Okay, whether it's damning towards your brother, whether it's damning towards somebody else, there's a reason why those aren't coming forward. Okay, there's a reason.
There is a reason. You know what it is?
Well, if you can't remember it, I mean,
Yeah, I mean that's it.
that's not a very good reason.
Well,
You know that. You know that in your heart. You know that's not.
It may not be a good reason, but it's the truth.
Well, it's not a good reason.
Okay.
And we're thinking of reason and logic in this room. You've already mentioned it twice. Yes, that's logical. Yes, that makes sense.
Mhm.
All right, those are the kind of things that we use as investigators, right? All right.
And then you add in the addition, the dog indicating on your car. Let's take it to the lab. Biological fluids are found in the trunk of your car where there shouldn't be anything.
There shouldn't be. There's not going to be. Shouldn't be. There's not going to
Well,
be.
there is. I mean, there's no disputing it. There is biological fluid in the trunk of your car.
The dog wouldn't have hit on the quarter panel in the trunk if there wouldn't have been something in there. We wouldn't have sent it to the lab if the dog didn't hit on it. The lab wouldn't have tested and sprayed luminol and it came back looking like a Smurf if there wasn't something there. If just the dog hit on it, maybe the dog had something up its nose that day, okay? But when you take it and you put it and you spray it at the lab, that's 2 different things that are verified there's something in
And the
that
guy
car.
that had the car before you was a neat freak. I mean,
Yeah.
it was probably spotless when you got it,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
But I mean, the other thing you got, when speaking about logical, I mean, who would do this on a city-maintained cruiser?
Well,
I mean, who would do that?
What better way to go undetected?
I disagree, man. I just disagree with that.
What better way to go undetected? Who's going to stop a police car?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
On the bluegrass, how
No
many
people
people
drive
drive
around.
no one's going to do
Who's
that.
going to stop a truck that's been followed by a police car? Nobody.
Who's going to think anything if they see a police car on the side of the road?
I see your side up there. I guess there's flip sides to everything, but
Who's going to think of anything if they see a police car on the side of the Bluegrass Parkway behind the car with a flat tire? You know, dropping a car off on the interstate. Nobody's going to think anything of it. They're going to say, "Look,
I mean,
it's
you're
a
right.
day."
I can't deny it, you know, but you're wrong. I mean,
Well, you tell me that you're telling the truth, and that's what you're maintaining, right?
most definitely.
And you're telling me you want to be cooperative. That's why you're here, right?
Yes.
Okay. What about taking a polygraph exam? You took one to become a police officer. I took one to become a police officer. Didn't you take one?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Now we know that your brother went up there and took a polygraph. Okay. He didn't fail the polygraph. All right. We didn't say he failed the polygraph.
Mm-hmm.
They said that the polygraph was inconclusive, which means it's neither pass nor fail. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if they can't get 100% accurate reading, they're not going to make a judgment on it, right? Because they're being fair. All right. Inconclusive doesn't mean anything. It just means inconclusive.
It's like flocking two cars. If you can't tell which one was the one you're getting ready to write a ticket for speeding, you're not going to write it.
Yeah.
You don't pull them
Yeah,
out
I
unless you're 100% sure.
I don't mind to take the polygraph. I mean, I really don't.
Okay. So
but
you take a polygraph and say the exact same thing if they ask you on the polygraph. If they said, "Nick, did you have any involvement with the disappearance?"
I'd say no because I didn't.
Okay. And if they said, "Nick, did you have any knowledge of her disappearance?" What would you say?
No.
Okay. Now, if they ask you, "Did you load that body up into the trunk of your Bardstown City Cruiser?"
No.
Okay. So, pretty easy test, wouldn't it be?
Sounds like it.
Okay. You be willing to do that?
How'd you do on it? How would you do on it?
I think I'll pass it with flying colors. I've got nothing to hide.
How about anybody else? I mean, did Crystal, do you think Crystal would have known something that she shouldn't have known, and that's probably why she went missing? If you don't believe the story about him getting, maybe a little physical with her maybe one time, you think she could have known something?
What's
about
that
your
now?
brother?
Back up a little bit. I'm not following.
Okay. Well, you said you don't believe the story that he maybe got a little physical with her.
No, I don't think Brooks has ever been physical
Okay.
with her.
Now, what about Brooks? He's got a lot to lose. I mean, he's got a pretty nice life, it seems like. I mean, he's doing pretty well for himself. What if she had some information that would turn his life upside down?
Yeah, I mean, he would still, no matter what she had, he wouldn't have done anything like this.
Okay. And what if she had information on somebody like you or somebody else? What would you say about that?
I don't know where you're going. Information. I mean, what kind of?
I mean, what if she knew something about you that you didn't want anybody else in the world to know? Or anybody, not just you. I mean,
and if she did, what do you ask?
Do you think that might have been what happened? I mean, is that more logical than him getting a physical altercation with her? What's more logical?
I mean, did she pop off and say, well, I know you're dirty, you're doing this and this to these tenants, or you're doing X, Y, and Z to this, and he just,
He ever say anything like that to you?
No.
He never mentioned anything about her making stuff up about him?
No.
Telling her friends anything?
So obviously we've gone down that it's not a logical explanation in your mind.
I don't think so.
Right. And what, like him, I agree. I think what happened is it was something heat of the moment. We all get in the heat of the moment, and just be honest, shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
Shit happens that we can't take back, that we wish we could.
Yeah, I mean, I just, I know nothing like that happened, and I mean, you guys are kind of going over the same stuff. I mean, if I could help you in any way with the investigation, I would. I mean, I'm just that kind of guy. She's got kids. There's no way that I could deal with something like that and just cover it up.
Well, what about Brooks? What about him?
What about him?
Is he that type of person, or is he
I
the
think
person that could? I mean, everybody's different.
There's no way he could do something like that. He's not capable of it.
Would he be capable of asking somebody else to do something like that?
Brooks ain't gonna hire that out. I mean, there's just no way he had anything to do with it.
What about he rents a lot of property? I'm sure he rents to some shady people.
Oh, I bet he does.
They ever found any indoor grows or anything in any of his properties?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay, they do that around here a lot.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Meth labs, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, Nelson County's full of dope. I mean,
any chance that he'd be involved in something like that?
no way. Brooks doesn't fool with any kind of drugs. He doesn't drink. No way.
I mean, there's certain people that are involved in that kind of stuff that aren't, you know, aren't involved in it themselves, you know what I mean? They're in it for the money.
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, he makes plenty of money.
What do you think should happen to somebody, say they killed somebody in the heat of the moment? Just kind of they didn't really mean to.
I think they're just as guilty as somebody that killed them anyway. Yeah, I don't have any patience for that kind of crap. I mean, she's got kids and stuff, and I mean, anybody that could have anything to do with her disappearance or possibly kill somebody, man, they need to be dealt with.
What about somebody that comes in after the fact that didn't have anything to do with the killing or the disappearance? And
I think they're just as guilty.
do you think any of them should be given a second chance?
No, I don't believe in second chances. I mean, I'm a pretty conservative guy, you know, on a lot of issues, and I mean, man, anybody that could do anything like that, just, we don't need them here on earth.
So if Brooks did do this, you feel the same way?
Most definitely.
If Brooks did it, he'd be dead to you.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have another thing to do with him. I mean, anybody that's that despicable and can just disregard the kids, and I mean, that's a pretty nasty person. About as bad as it gets.
Even if there was a reason, if that person thought they had a reason.
I can't think of one reason in my head that could justify something like that.
If somebody, you know, we obviously have to go through our lives thinking different than other people. As police officers, you know we might kill somebody every day we come to work.
It's a possibility.
But that's only if somebody's going to try to kill us first.
Exactly. Now that's obviously self-defense. I mean,
that's a difference. Okay.
Yes.
But having that same mentality, you know, did Crystal and him have ever had any problems? Maybe where she could have done something to him where he had to defend himself, and then
I don't really know of any instance like that, or the incident y'all brought up about her seeing some other dude. I mean, I really do.
I can say fairly sure, certainly, that she was seeing other people.
Yeah. You know, she may have. I mean, I didn't really know her that well. I can't tell you you're wrong. You know.
And your brother, you know, has he ever been known to run around on girls?
I don't think he's ever ran around on her. I can't say that he's never cheated on a girlfriend, but I mean,
Well, your brothers, you've probably seen some things or heard some things in the past, but yeah, as far as Crystal, he wasn't running around on her?
No.
Well, why weren't they married? Why didn't they get married? You ever talk about marrying her?
Well, I mean, as far as I know, she was married to, was it Keith Rogers or whoever it was? I mean, I think they, you know, at one time they were talking about, you know, trying to get her divorced from him, but as far as either one of them running around, I don't believe that was the case. That's what I believe. But like I said, I wasn't around her a lot, and I can't tell you that you're wrong.
Well, when could you take the polygraph exam?
I'll be off the next few days, so I mean,
if we got one set up for tomorrow, or got one, well, it's kind of late now to set one up tomorrow, but maybe if we got one set up for the next couple of days, would that be something that you could do?
Why don't we just shoot for Monday?
Okay. Well, what if they're, you know,
what is today?
Today is Wednesday, so we got Thursday and Friday still before they close down for the weekend.
Okay.
And it all depends on their availability.
Yeah, I mean, they might have.
I mean, I've got a lot of stuff going on. I just moved and everything. Let's just try to shoot for Monday, and if that'll make you guys happy, then I'll be more than glad to do it.
Well,
I don't have a problem with it.
The thing about it is, you know, we go up there, take the test. You're telling us that you're being honest,
yes,
right?
100%.
And you're 100% on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know that I've sat here and talked to people in that same seat that you're in right now
Mm-hmm.
that have told me they're being 100% honest, and later on I find out they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a fair assessment?
Most definitely.
Okay, so you sitting in the chair that I'm sitting in right here, and somebody sitting there in your chair telling you that same thing.
I'm skeptical as you are. I'm probably more skeptical.
The polygraph is something that can help us. It's a tool. We don't use it in court, but it's a tool.
Yeah.
All right. Just
If
like
that makes you feel, you know, whatever it does for you, it'll be fine.
But agreeing to do that now, you're not going to change your mind later.
No, I'll do it for you.
You're going to be a man of your word, and you're going to take a
You got
polygraph
it.
if we set it
Yes.
up.
Yes, sir.
Hang tight.
Yep. Be right back. All right. Do you want anything to drink?
No, I'll just be wrapping it up though, because I'm fixing to head out.
Okay. Had to keys back from that car so we can get out of here.
And my behind's about asleep.
Can you think of anything else I need to ask you or anything else that's
I
important?
don't. I mean, I think you did a good job, you know. I mean, I can commend you for that. You seem like a pretty squared away dude.
Well, you know, I just want to make sure that we cover everything because obviously there might be a second opportunity for us to sit down and talk. I mean, if you remember something that's different between now and then, I'll set up that polygraph exam, and I mean, I'm sure we can talk for a minute or two before or after that if we need to. If something's different.
If you got a card, I'll be more glad to call you if something comes up. I mean,
All right, so you ready to roll?
Yeah.
911, what's your emergency?